Hello there, friends. It's Jimmy Maverick. Hey, welcome to another edition of the Fantasy Maverick podcast. Today, I am joined by my good friend, Swami Rob of the 94 Rock Morning Show, and we are going to talk Week 5 matchups as well as starts and sits for this crazy NFL season. So you definitely want to stay tuned for that. Here we go.
Listen up. It's time for the Fantasy Maverick podcast, starring the guy who's going to help you win that fantasy championship, Jimmy Maverick.
Hello there, friends. It's Jimmy Maverick. Welcome to another edition of the Fantasy Maverick podcast, coming at you from Santa Fe, New Mexico. And with me on Thursdays, as always, is the 94 Rocks Morning Show DJ, Mr. Swami Rob. Swami, how are you today?
I'm all right, man. How about you?
Well, I got to tell you, man, I am hurting bad in the 94 Rock Listener League. My team has gone to crap. I just lost. I've been without Chris Godwin, and now I'm without Nick Chubb for who knows how long. And my team is sitting at 0-4, man. It is brutal this year. I'm suffering.
It's I'm about sick of losing running backs too in all of my leagues. I've lost pretty much all of them, but and that's for real too, like all of them. And so then you factor COVID into the whole situation and the Titans-Pittsburgh game not happening. And I finally got to the point last week where it was just like, look, I'm not going to release any of these guys because then somebody else could get them. Nobody on the waiver wire is worth a damn. So I just left some roster positions open and took zeros in a bunch of them. And I still ended up winning one game despite that.
Really? That's
yeah. Because I wasn't going to let Jonnu Smith go. And there was nobody on the waiver wire worth grabbing without releasing somebody I wanted to keep. And then you start factoring bye weeks in this week and various COVID postponements and all the guys that are going out with Achilles and ACL. And it's just like, hell with it. I'm not the only guy having this problem. So let's just see what we do with the 6 guys we got available, you know?
Well, I'm happy to say I'm not in that situation on any of my leagues. But yeah, I mean, it has been a brutal year, man. It is tough all around. And even though your team may be suffering, there's a lot of teams that are suffering right now, probably in your same league, you know? But you just what I got to say, man, is you just keep trying, right? You just keep going to the waiver wire, keep offering trades, keep working on it and improve that team and get yourself to where you win some games and then you're good. Our league really appears to be the haves and the have-nots right now. I mean, it's like you're at 2-2, but it seems like most everybody's at 0-4 or 1-3 or 3-1 and 4-0. I mean, there's like nothing really in the middle. And so that's kind of shocking. You know, I'm playing a guy that's at 3-1 and he's in 5th place. So this week. So, you know, again, it's just tough all around. I'm hoping things get better, especially for this team, which I thought so highly of when we had our draft. I was so elated at how good the team was that I put together, and I'm at 0-4. So I'm just like,
well, you know, I'm 0-4 in another league, and that team is so dreadful, and it keeps getting worse by the minute. Chubb was the only guy I had going for me. So I pretty much just left that on autopilot the rest of the year. I'm not even going to mess with it. I'm 0-4. It's over. So I'm not even going to – I'm just going to let it be whatever happens. I might as well have taken $50 and just chucked it out the window. But as far as the morning show league team goes, actually, it's going pretty well. I think I'm 2-2.
Yeah, you are 2-2.
3-1 in a couple of other leagues, and they've been going really well. I've got Aaron Rodgers as my backup quarterback in one league, and I've started offering him for decent running backs to a couple of people in trades, and nobody wants it. And I thought for sure that's a great trade chip this year, but nobody's taken it so far.
It's just that the quarterback position is so deep. I've got on our starts and sits today, I've got several names of guys. I'm like, you know what? I'm totally happy with starting this guy. And of course, Aaron Rodgers is out this week because of the bye week, as is Matthew Stafford. So, I got some good options here. So why don't we start off with our week 5 starts and sits? And we're going to start with the Thursday night game. We got Tampa Bay at Chicago. I got to tell you, man, it's a short week for both these teams, 2 solid defenses. This doesn't look like a very good fantasy team for me, a fantasy game for me. The Chicago defense is 2nd best against the quarterback, 3rd best against wide receivers. So that makes Tom Brady a nervous, I'd be nervous about starting him this week, even though he did fantastic last week. This is going to be a tougher game for him, and all the injuries to the Tampa Bay receivers right now. So, it's just a really tough situation. The only guy on Tampa Bay that I could see as a good start besides the Tampa Bay defense is Ronald Jones. I think he's going to be a solid start. He's going to get the volume. It's going to be a good game for him. Leonard Fournette, I expect he's probably going to sit again. So that's where I'm at as far as on the Chicago side. As far as Tampa Bay goes. And then as far as Chicago goes, looks like Allen Robinson and Jimmy Graham are the best starts this week. Best chances on this offense. That's the weakest point of the Tampa Bay defense is receivers and tight ends. So that's where they're gonna attack, and I think those guys are gonna have pretty good games.
Jimmy Graham, what a waste. Has been a waste for a long time now. Maybe with O.J. Howard out, you might see Gronkowski actually score 7 or 8 instead of 3 or 4. Who knows? I'm banking on that.
Right. And that, obviously the narrowing of the target tree, it does help because, O.J. Howard was getting 3 or 4 targets a game. If that goes to Gronk, all of a sudden Gronk is viable. He's not viable right now. I don't think I could recommend him to start this week, but I think it's something that I think he's worth a pickup. I actually recommended him picking him up on the Tuesday podcast talking about the waiver wire. So he might still be available if you go and check it out. Now let's go to the Sunday early games, man. Big news today, Rams at Washington. Dwayne Haskins benched. They're putting in Kyle Allen. How confident does that make you in the Washington offense?
It doesn't. I was kind of hoping to see Alex Smith come back, but McLaurin's been all right, but I don't own any Redskins, and I watch the football teams. And I don't really have any faith in any of them either.
Yeah, and the Rams defense is 5th best against wide receivers. So just the fact that we've got a quarterback change and that makes Terry McLaurin a sit for me. And really, I just can't recommend starting any other Washington players except for Antonio Gibson. I think Gibson is a solid start this week. I think he'll do just fine. But on the other side of the ball, I do like Jared Goff as a streaming option if you need a quarterback. And I think Tyler Higbee is going to have a big week as well. Washington defense is weak against the tight end, but they are very strong against wide receivers. So Kupp and Woods are both risky for me. I would sit them if you can. And the whole Rams backfield, man, I can't trust any of it. I can't recommend starting any of those guys because you do not know who's going to be the primary back on a week-to-week basis right now.
Well, the problem is you're kind of at the mercy of whoever you can pick up on the waiver wire. You might not have a choice. That's what's cracking me up with a lot of these sits we're talking about this week is you really don't have any choice. I had to start Rex Burkhead last week. I had to get him off waivers just because I needed another running back. He ended up getting me 7 or 8 points, and I still won the game, but I immediately blew him out. I guess what was really sad last week with picking up running backs is I put a claim for D. Johnson from Houston, who was sitting on the waiver wire. I need a running back immediately. I said, well, David Johnson will have to do. And I didn't realize it until I got the email from Yahoo. I got Duke Johnson, not David Johnson. And that's not who I meant to get. So I had to drop him immediately and try to get somebody else.
The instant I saw David Johnson join that team, I said, you got to watch out real carefully if someone offers you a trade for D. Johnson. You be sure to check that it's David Johnson and not Duke Johnson that you're going to be getting. Because there's 2 D. Johnsons on that team.
Yep.
So let's move on now. Here's another one, man. Buffalo at Tennessee. Is this game even going to happen? Tennessee, they've been locked out of their facilities for 2 weeks now because of COVID. They had 2 more people test positive for COVID today. It was in the news, so it happened yesterday. This is bad news, man. This game could get postponed or even forfeited by Tennessee because are they even going to be able to play this week?
I didn't know Tennessee had a positive test. When I was reading ESPN this morning, quite a bit earlier, about 7, it looked like they were giving the all clear to open the facility. So I guess that just happened. Yeah,
and that news came in, and the facility is not going to reopen today. They were planning on reopening it today. It's not going to happen because of these 2 positive cases. But now that this just throws the whole weekend into question. Losing the Tennessee players for another week would be terrible. I've got Derrick Henry. To lose him for another week would really hurt. And not to mention, the defense, Buffalo defense, Jonnu Smith. There's some really key players that are on the Tennessee side, and now that's all a big question mark for this weekend. Is it even going to happen?
That's okay though. That's okay because the guy I'm playing in the 94 Rock Morning Show's fantasy league starting Josh Allen at quarterback. So if he's out, maybe I got a chance this week. So I'm okay with it.
Yeah, Josh Allen has been fantastic. Jeez, I mean, he is playing so well, and I did not expect that. I had him tagged as a regression candidate because of the rushing touchdowns. He got 9 rushing touchdowns last year, and I'm sure he's going to regress on that. But man, his passing skills are just off the charts fantastic this year. I was not expecting that at all from Allen this year, but kudos to him, man. He's doing great. And
hey, and let me just make something clear, all right? I'm not wishing harm on anybody through COVID or anything like that. I hope Josh Allen gets better starting Monday.
That's right, just not this week, right?
Right.
Okay, now this one, this next game certainly looks like a blowout. Eagles at the Steelers. Geez, I think the Steelers are just going to completely roll here after they got the bye week. They have not had any cases of COVID, so they were just kind of swept in because they had the matchup with Tennessee last week. So they're all healthy, man. I think this is going to be a steamroller game for the Pittsburgh Steelers. The only person I could see that you might want to sit is Ben Roethlisberger, as Philly is giving the 10th fewest points to opposing quarterbacks this season. So it seems like they're pretty good against containing the quarterback. But on the flip side, man, Eric Ebron, it looks like a great start. Philly has given up the 3rd most points to tight ends. And, I wouldn't sit any other Steelers players, man. Go ahead and play them. They're all good. And then on the other side of the ball, boy, I got to say, I think Miles Sanders is a sit this week. It's going to be another super, super tough matchup. And, Steelers are, that's where they're rock solid, is against the run. So if you can, I wouldn't start him. I know a lot of you are going to be in a position where you can't sit Miles Sanders, but don't expect much out of him this week.
Like I said, you're just grabbing at straws most of this year, it looks like. And James Washington, I've had to flex him twice out of necessity, not because I wanted to. And he did all right. It wasn't my first pick as a flex, but he did okay. So I'm doing it again this week. What other choice do I have?
Yeah. Well, we'll see what happens, man. I feel bad for the Eagles. They've really been devastated by injuries, offensive line, receivers. It's just really, it's kind of a bummer. I thought they were going to be.
Yeah, well, the Cowboys fan in me doesn't feel a drip of sympathy for the Eagles.
Hold on one second here. I got this.
Sure.
All right, so let's go up. Let's go to the next matchup, man. We got Cardinals at the Jets. This looks like a nice bounce back game for the Cardinals, who've dropped their last 2, which is just very surprising. But the Jets, man, Bill O'Brien got canned this past week. Do you think next week is Adam Gase's turn?
You'd think.
I mean, there is just not a single Jet I can recommend starting. Sam Darnold's got a shoulder injury. He's probably not going to play. It is just, man, it is just rock bottom, this team. And I'm amazed that Adam Gase is still employed. As far as the other side of the ball, though, Cardinals, looks great. I would not recommend it. I've got, Kenyon Drake has been relegated back to my bench. I cannot start him right now. He is terrible this year. But I think that Chase Edmonds is a great start this week. If you got Chase Edmonds, I think he's a great player to put into your starters. I think he's going to have a good week.
All right. Yeah.
Let's see here. Who we got next up? Here we go. Raiders at the Chiefs. Chiefs should roll, man. They're coming off 2 huge games where they beat New England and Baltimore in consecutive weeks. Are they primed for a letdown? Is there an opportunity here that you think the Raiders can sneak a victory against them?
No, I don't think that at all. I don't. I'd love to see the Raiders be more competitive, but no, I don't see that happening at all.
Yeah, I mean, I can't recommend sitting any Kansas City players the toughest matchup is Kelsey, but no one's going to bench Kelsey. You're not going to bench him. Give me a break. But that is the toughest matchup on the team. As far as on the other side of the ball, Kansas City is solid against quarterbacks and wide receivers. So I think that Hunter Renfrow is a sit for me this week. I would not start him. And I think the Kansas City defense is going to be excellent this week. So absolutely start them. There's going to be turnovers. There's going to be, there's going to be sacks. I think it's going to be a good game for the Kansas City defense.
Once again, I've had to press a scrub into action because of COVID or injuries, and so I'm forced to start Nelson Aguilar this week.
Right.
Best available name on there. Yeah, he did all right last week, so I hope he does it again.
Yeah, that's all you can hope for. Now here's here's another game. The Jaguars at the Texans. Obviously, Bill O'Brien is gone. Do you think the Texans will play better now that their head coach is no longer on the team? I think they will. I think they probably will. I think they're going to notch their first win this week. I think that's what's finally going to happen. Yep. As far as sits, on the Jaguars side, I don't like Gardner Minshew's matchup. Texans are top 10 against quarterbacks. So I think that is, that is not a great matchup there. So I'd sit him if you can. I do like James Robinson. Fantastic start. I think he's going to do great. And then on the other side of the ball, I think the Jags pass defense is really, really good. So Will Fuller and Brandon Cooks are sits. And in fact, for me, Brandon Cooks is a drop. I don't think you need to keep him on your team anymore if you got him on your bench.
Much like last year. Yep.
Yeah. So moving on, we've got the Bengals at the Ravens. And I got to say, man, last week, Joe Mixon had a huge game, right? He blew up, had a fantastic game. I say Joe Mixon is a sell high candidate. This is a guy, if you have him on your team, you need to offer him up for trade and get him off your team while he's
Let me know if you want to trade Joe Mixon anywhere out there right now. I need a running back so bad. What do you want? Let's talk. I'll take him.
There you go. The invitation is out there. Yep. Yeah, and this is going to be a really tough matchup for Mixon. I think, like I said, he's a sit, but if you can trade him off your team, get someone else in place of Mixon, because I don't like him. He just hasn't been good. 4 weeks, he had one good week. That is not the kind of player you want on your team, all right? I do think Joe Burrow is a start if you need to stream a quarterback. Again, another great option if you're without Aaron Rodgers or Matthew Stafford or whoever. I think Burrow is a great start this week. Of course,
I think Joe Burrow is maybe the most exciting rookie I've seen in a couple of years. Don't get me wrong. Mahomes' first year as a starter was amazing. Lamar Jackson's was amazing. But, man, Joe Burrow has exceeded my expectations for him as a rookie. And that guy is crazy tough. I love the guy's guts. I love his balls. Well, that sounded bad, but, I mean, he's got balls. And so I'm just telling you, man, I really give Joe Burrow a lot of credit. I mean, most people don't get to see the Bengals play that often. But if you do watch the red zone, you see the guy making some plays. This guy's good. The Bengals have a piece to build around, I really think.
But the thing to note about both Mahomes and Lamar Jackson is they had their breakout seasons in their second year. That's when they had their record-setting seasons. So Burrow is not a guy that I targeted this year. I don't like to target rookie quarterbacks, but both his play and Justin Herbert, they're great right now. I go ahead and pick him up if you can get him. I got Herbert on one of my teams. I picked him up as my second quarterback. But yeah, I think they're solid choices. No sits on the Ravens, although you've got to be careful with that backfield. It's such a mess. It's such a timeshare. That's my only caution as far as the Ravens go. But they're going to have a great game.
Dobbins. The one running back I've had in all 5 of my leagues who hasn't been hurt is J.K. Dobbins. He might as well be hurt. He hasn't done a damn thing for me.
Yeah, he's not getting any volume. That's the problem, man. And that was my biggest concern is it's a 3-headed monster back there. Because you got Gus Edwards too. And I think after this season, I think Ingram is not going to be on the team anymore. And I do think that J.K. Dobbins is going to be like a first or second round pick next season in fantasy drafts because of his upside.
Well, that's not doing me any good this year,
though. Him the ball more, man, because he's done great when he gets it. but not yet. It's not happening yet. Let's see here. Who's next? Okay. Here we go. Panthers at the Falcons. Panthers have been a pleasant surprise. They played very well. They've won their past 2 games. And the Falcons are hurting bad. I got to say, I dropped Ryan on one of my teams because he doesn't have anyone to throw the ball to anymore. They're all injured.
Right.
You've got,
Right.
Julio is out. You got Ridley injured. It's really a bad situation for Atlanta, especially now they're sitting at 0-4. And how hot is the coach's seat right now in Atlanta as well? He's also a threat to be fired anytime.
2 things here. First of all, where this game's concerned, I deserve props for when all my running backs started going down 2 weeks ago. I was lucky enough to get Mike Davis off the waiver wire. Maybe the waiver wire pickup of the year so far. Second of all, I go to work insanely early. So when I watched the doubleheader on Monday night, I only caught maybe the first quarter of the Green Bay, or it wasn't the first quarter. I waited until the first game was over, and then I watched maybe 5-10 minutes of the Atlanta Green Bay game and went to bed. I didn't find out till the next day that for some reason Koo was not out there. And his 0 that I got as my kicker was the difference between me winning and losing a game. I lost a game by 4 points because I had no idea why that guy wasn't playing. And that was the main reason. I think it was a hamstring injury or something. Yeah, I think he's on injured reserve right now. I had to get Koo off a couple of my teams last week because of that. So me too. So too bad I found out too late.
That stinks. But as far as the one start I do like on Atlanta, Todd Gurley, I think's got a great matchup here. Carolina is fifth best for opposing running backs. So I think he's going to have another good game. It's nice to see Gurley getting stuff going these past couple weeks. I'm really happy with that. But Julio Jones is a sit. He's battling a hamstring injury. Even if he plays, last week he only played the first half of the game. Then he was out. He didn't play anymore. And he aggravated that hamstring injury. So that's not good. So he's probably going to sit, I'm guessing. And I also have Hurst as a sit because Carolina has a really strong defense against tight ends. So not a lot of good stuff for the Falcons here as far as options to start, which is a shame because they're one of the best offensive units in the NFL. And just not happening. As far as Carolina goes, everybody's good. Go Carolina. Teddy Bridgewater is my favorite start of the week if you're going to stream a quarterback, man. I actually picked him up. I think I picked him up in our league, in our 94 Rock League. I really love the matchup, man. Atlanta's defense is terrible. Bridgewater's been playing better every week he's been playing. I love him this week. So that's a great streaming option. Now let's see here. Afternoon games. We've got the Dolphins at the Niners. The San Francisco defense is a beast. So I'd say you should recommend you should sit all Miami players if you can. I don't think it's going to be a good game for anybody. And Preston Williams for me is a drop candidate. Just not getting any volume, man. It just really stinks. I'm really disappointed because I thought he was going to come back very big from his injury, and he hasn't done anything on that offense this year. Let's see here. And then everyone on San Francisco's a start. Looks like their wide receiver core is getting healthier as well. Ayuka's there. Debo? Debo's healthy again. I think it's great. I think everyone in San Francisco is a start against the Dolphins defense. So that's great for them. Let's see here. Next game, Giants at the Cowboys.
Is Beathard starting at quarterback again?
I don't know. It looks like Garoppolo's kind of is questionable to play. It sounds like he might, so I guess we're going to have to get closer to the weekend. But, again, it's the Dolphins defense, so I think it's going to be good no matter what. Right. Now, the next one, Giants at the Cowboys. Your Cowboys, Swami, historically the worst defense that they've ever had in franchise history. Most points scored against them over the past 3 weeks than any previous 3-game span for the entire history of the Cowboys. Giants, for me, are a start. They can't stop anybody. Yeah. Look at what Odell Beckham Jr. did to him last week. And Odell Beckham Jr. is another guy who I'm like, sell high, sell him high. He had a fantastic game against this historically horrible defense. Don't expect that to continue. But I got to say, man, Daniel Jones, start him. Darius Slayton, start him. Golden Tate, start him. Eric Ebron, start him. Start every Giant you can. They are going to score points on this Cowboys defense. No problem.
Yep. They're going to hang as many as Cleveland did, not by a long shot. I bet they stay in the low 30s this time. But, yeah, absolutely. And on the same token, there's not a whole lot of guys in the Cowboys offense that aren't going to have big days too. Just like last week. I knew, even though the Cowboys were probably not going to win that game, I had a feeling going into that they were going to get spanked. I still left 3 guys, Cooper, Lamb, and Zeke, all did great for me. So if the Cowboys want to continue to lose, to be honest with you, I don't really care. I'm in this for the fantasy at this point. So as long as they're scoring points and losing, I'm good.
Yeah, the only Cowboy I'm really concerned with starting right now is Gallup, because he has been so inconsistent. And I got to say, usually the inconsistent one is Cooper. But Cooper has been amazing. He's getting such a tremendous volume of targets. But yeah, I mean, obviously that the only sit I can think of is Gallup at this point for Dallas. Everyone else, go ahead and start them. They're great. They're going to do great. Colts at the Browns. I got to say, Colts defense, one of the few defenses in the league that's actually playing like a defense, solid across the board against all key positions. So as far as the Browns go, I have Odell Beckham Jr. as a sit or trade high. Like I said, you should try to trade him high. But it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough for the Cleveland defense. Tough for the Cleveland offensive players against this defense. I think it's going to be a disappointing day all around, although Kareem Hunt, obviously a start.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to do – if you're expecting the same kind of production out of the Cleveland offense this week and last, you're crazy. You've gone from maybe the worst defense in the NFL to maybe the best. Right. So, although I got to tell you, Jarvis Landry, I was kind of hoping for a little bit more out of this year. It's not that he's done badly. It's just that I think now that Odell is starting to rise again, he's getting more of the touches. And so, well, there you go.
Yeah, I think the problem with Jarvis is he just isn't getting any touchdowns right now. And that happened last year, too.
Right.
He started really slow. He only got 1 touchdown in the first 8 games. But then in the last 8 games, he got 7 more touchdowns.
Yeah.
So the touchdowns will come. He's getting pretty decent volume. And he had that great trick play with Odell this past week that, where he tossed the touchdown pass. That was kind of surprising. How does that work, by the way?
How does that work? When your receiver that you've got on your roster throws a touchdown, you get 5 for that, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's whatever you get for a passing touchdown. So it's usually 4 points in most leagues. So he got the 4 points for throwing a touchdown pass. That's kind of hilarious.
I got that. Yeah, right when that happened, I checked my my matchup on my fantasy app, and I was like, "I'll be damned cool. I got points for that. Great."
Yeah, and it was wasn't it like a 60-yard play also? I mean, it was like a huge play. So there's a lot of points there. That was really good.
It was a lot. Yep.
And then as far as on the Colts side, the only sit, man, I got to say Jonathan Taylor for me is a sit this week because that Cleveland run defense is solid, very stout, but the Indy receivers are all starts. So T.Y. Hilton, Zach Pascal, and Mo Alley Cox all should be very productive against the Browns defense. So I really like them for week 5 here. Okay, now this should be probably the easiest call of the week. Broncos at the Patriots. Cam is probably going to be out again, though. Also news today, Stephen Gilmore had a positive COVID test this morning. So that's also a problem. This game all of a sudden could go into doubt because there are multiple COVID cases on this team. But as far as the Patriots go, New England defense absolutely a start against this depleted Broncos offense. I also like Jerry Jeudy and KJ Hamler. I think they're going to be very productive, and it's going to be a negative game script for Denver. So I think they'll have big days as well. So I think they're both good to go.
Sounds about right to me.
And let's see here. So and then as far as, I'm sorry, one more thing, New England running backs, man, I got to say the only one I can recommend starting is James White. Denver's top 5 against the run. Plus, it's just a mess to know who even is going to be the starter. Is it going to be Damian Harris? Is it going to be Rex Burkhead? Sony Michel, he's injured, but is he going to be back? Who knows? The only one you can really comfortably start is James White. So there's that. The Sunday night football game, Vikings at Seahawks. So this looks like a great fantasy game with tons of offense and bad defenses on both sides. So really great starts all around. What's going on? Oh, my phone's ringing. Of course it's ringing. Hold on. Okay. So anyway, starts all around on this game. I can't recommend to sit anybody, all Vikings and Seahawks players, get them in your lineup because I think they're great.
Yeah.
And then finally, we got the Monday Night Football. Interesting matchup, Chargers at the Saints. Again, another streaming option. If you're looking for a quarterback, Justin Herbert is a great option. New Orleans is top 7 for opposing quarterbacks. So, I think that he's going to be a great start this week. But I think Keenan Allen and Mike Williams are sits because New Orleans is top 10 against receivers. But Hunter Henry should be very productive. So Hunter Henry's a start. And then as far as on the Saints side, everyone's good. I'd even start Drew Brees. It's a great matchup. I think he's going to do really good.
I didn't snap until yesterday when I was setting my lineups that the Lions were on a bye this week, and Stafford was a starting quarterback in my morning show league. And I was like, oh, that's a problem because I'm having to fill all kinds of holes from this goddamn COVID in the first place. Now I got to do this. And I go to the waiver wire, and lo and behold, who's sitting there? Justin Herbert, and I picked him up. So I'm starting him this week, and I think that might be very timely for me.
That sounds good, man. That sounds good. I think he's going to do great. And the future looks bright for NFL quarterbacks, man. I got to say, I remember about 5 years ago, I was really starting to sweat because it had been so long since a real difference maker had come into the league at quarterback position. It was like Andrew Luck, and that was it. And then all of a sudden, like the past 3 seasons now, we've had all these, Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, all these Deshaun Watson, all these fantastic difference-making quarterbacks have all entered the league and really just revitalized the offense across the board. And they were saying through the first 3 weeks of the season, the NFL had scored more points than any. It was a record setting for points scored, touchdowns scored, and passing touchdowns scored, which is not surprising, looking at what's been happening in fantasy. But it's just like, it's great to see all this young talent coming into the league and really making a difference at the quarterback position because there was a dearth for a long time. No good quarterbacks were coming into the league, so it's nice to see.
Yeah, man. No doubt.
So anyway, Swami, good luck with Week 5. I hope I hope our fortunes turn in the 94 Rock Morning League. It would be nice for me to notch a win. I am favored. I'm favored to win. I've been favored to win like every week, and I have not. So we'll see what happens. But it's tough without 2 of my top 3 picks being available right now, with both Godwin and Chubb being out. But the tables are going to turn. I'm going to come back now. Just you watch. Just you wait. Comeback is coming.
All right. Hey, and I got to remind you that we got to thank Bios, who's been in Albuquerque for a long, long time, and they're your appliance, your electronics, and your mattress center, and they're over on San Mateo and Manal. Now, listen, they donated a 65-inch Sony 4K TV that the winner of the Morning Show League gets. They get that TV. Now, for those of you who didn't get into the Morning Show League, there's only 12 of us in the world who did. Then for all the rest of you, you can go to 94rock.com and register daily to win a 65-inch LD 4K flat screen TV, and you don't even have to play. And all you got to do is register, and you can do that every day at 94rock.com on the Morning Show page. And thanks again to Bios for hooking us up with all that stuff.
Yeah, that's pretty sweet, man. That's very nice. So good luck to everybody out there this week for Week 5. And, like I said, we'll be back. I'll be back again next Tuesday to talk about pickups for Week 6. But let's have a great week this week. I think, like I said, I smell victory. It's coming, man. I'm going to get it. And
good luck, man. Good luck.
So anyway, everybody out there, please, thank you very much for watching. Please like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. And if you got any questions about any of these players or any other players, leave them in the comments down below. So, Swami, thank you so much, and we will talk to you soon. Have a great day, everybody.